Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. Today, I'm going to do something I actually haven't done before, which is show you some of my slab collection. So I've picked out 10 slabs from my collection. They're not, I wouldn't say they're my favorite 10 slabs, but they are 10 slabs that reflect my sort of collecting habits and what I'm interested in. Um, so here we go. And let's have a look at these. So first off, I have got a nice golden age horror cover. This is something that my friend Alan collects loads and loads and loads of, but is extremely expensive and I can't really afford it. However, I did stretch out and buy this great looking cover. I like it because it's pink. I like pink covers. This is Strange Fantasy number 13. And of course, it's a bondage cover. So there we go. I do not have a lot of Bronze Age horror slabbed. In fact, I think this is my only one. I do have a bit of unslabbed Bronze Age horror that I have picked up due to the influence of my fellow price variant, Alan Pollett. So there we go. That's the first slab I'm going to show you. Right, next slab I'm going to show you reflects my collecting of Batman. Batman was my first sort of one of my first collecting passions. I've got a lot of Batman comics. I've got some nice early Batmans. But this one, the reason I brought this one along is this is one of the ones that I bought way, way back. So I originally collected comics, started from the age of about 13 or 14. I had another phase in my 20s. And then when I got around to having kids in my late 30s, early 40s, it stopped. But this one, I put all my comics in the attic. So this one was a raw comic put in my attic from probably the 19 late 70s, early 80s, and I had it slabbed a couple of years ago, and it's this one. And I do love this cover. It's a Neil Adams cover. It's the first appearance of Raz Al Ghul, origin of Batman and Robin retold, an Italia cameo from 1971. So this was probably only about 8 to 10 years old when I bought it. And now it's over 50 years old. So yeah, that's a nice one. Right, next up, those of you who have ever watched my YouTube channel or heard me talking will know I am the proud collector of a complete run of SpongeBob comics. And the one that started it all, and I bought it raw, was this one, SpongeBob 1, that I had slabbed a couple of years ago. So there are, I think, 86 SpongeBobs. Go and check my SpongeBob video, which I will put a link to underneath here. But SpongeBob comics are expensive. They were really low print runs. Some of the print runs had less than 5,000 copies. And of course, they all went to kids. So there are not many survive. So you'll find it really difficult to put together a full SpongeBob collection if you try to do it. And it will not be cheap. Anyway, here we have SpongeBob number one in a CGC 9.4. And here's another one from my attic collection. Again, I bought this raw when it first came out in 1991. I actually got two copies of this at the time. Absolutely fabulous, fabulous cover by Jamie Hewlett. This came back at 9.2, but this is still probably worth 100 quid or so. Great first appearance of Tank Girl. Next up, one of the things that I've been collecting forever. So I began collecting this when I was about 14 or 15, and it is Brave and the Bold. Okay. Now there are 200 issues of Brave and the Bold. The first sort of 80 can be quite pricey. From 100 onwards, they're quite cheap. and it's quite easy to put together a collection. However, as I get close, I've got about four or five missing that all from the sort of they're all in the teens and the early 20s. And I'm very fussy about getting grade. I want a minimum of a 4.5, 5.0, and they are really difficult to get hold of. Anyway, I do have this magnificent creature. This is Brave and the Bold #1 from 1955. So it's golden age, I suppose. It's not horror. It's sort of knights of old, Robin Hood and the Golden Gladiator, the Silent Knight, Viking Prince. Yeah, really great. In a 4.0, which is a pretty decent grade, actually. This is not, this is more common than some of the later issues because it is a #1, but still fantastic. Right, next up. Now, this is extremely rare. I collect early British reprints um, from a company called L. Miller and Son. Now, they were a after the Second World War, you couldn't import comics into the UK from the US because the British government was trying to encourage the British printing industry. So there's a guy called Len Miller who was based in Hackney in London who got the rights to certain American comics and he started printing them in the UK in about the mid 1940s. And he went on till about the mid 1960s. And then along came Alan Class, who went on from about 1960 through to about 1989. Now, this one is a really, really early Len Miller publication. It is from 1945. It is a reproduction of Whiz Comics, and it I can assure you it is L. Miller and Son. It hasn't got a pence pricing on it, hasn't got a cents pricing on it, and it does just say Fawcett publication #63. But this is extremely rare, very hard to find, from 1945 in a 6.5 white pages. 6.5 white pages from 1945, Len Miller and Sons reproduction of Whiz Comics #63 from Fawcett. I've got a few like that in my collection, which I love to bits. Right, next up, one of my collecting passions is the Fantastic Four. I am never going to own a Fantastic Four #1, I don't think, unless I win the lottery or something strange happens. But I have got this magnificent creature. This is Creepy Worlds #32, and this is the Alan Class reproduction of the Fantastic Four #1. Now, this was done very shortly after the original, probably a year or so after the original came out. Alan did this reproduction of Fantastic Four #1. What is special about this is not only is this in 4.5, but I was lucky enough to meet Alan and interview him. And I asked him to sign the back of my slab. So that is signed by Alan Class. It's Creepy Worlds #32, first Fantastic Four #1 reprint ever. And yeah, fantastic. Love that. It's one of my favorites. That probably would be in my top 10 slabs. Okay, next up. So I haven't got a Fantastic Four #1, but I went to an auction locally about 3 or 4 years ago, just after COVID, I think. It was an auction local to me, and there was a load of comics that were in turkey boxes, boxes for holding turkeys. One of the comics and it was from a turkey farmer who'd obviously collected comics, and one of the comics in there was a Fantastic Four #2 Raw. Now, they had spotted it. Okay, it wasn't 10p. It cost me I think it cost me about £150. And I thought it was a 1.520. Anyway, I had it cleaned and pressed and I sent it off to CGC and I was absolutely over the moon when it came back as a 3.5. There we go. That is my Turkey Farmer Fantastic Four number two in a 3.5 with a custom label. Yeah, very happy with that one. Love its bits. Right. Okay, one of my favorite covers of all time, and I do have the Alan Class version of this as well. And the Alan Class version is a 7.0. But here is and I bought this raw and I had it slabbed. It's the great Vision cover, first appearance of Vision by John Buscema, I think. I'm fairly sure it's John Buscema. Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, John Buscema cover. Um, One of the greatest covers of all time, in my humble opinion. Love it. Right, and finally, and this next one is my favorite comic ever. Okay, it's my personal, so it is my number one of this list, and it is the number one if I was doing my top 10 of any description in my collection. Okay, this is a legacy. This is one of my attic books that I bought back. I remember buying this at a comic convention in London in about 1979, 1980. So I was about 18 or 19 years old, and I paid a huge sum of money for this. I paid nearly £40 for this. It was a raw comic. Slabbing had not been invented. I had it cleaned and pressed a few years ago, and I sent it off to CGC, and it came back a 7.0. There we go. That is my House of Secrets number 92. Yes, I was correct. 92. Of course, the great Bernie Wrightson, and those of you who've watched my videos over the last few years will know I'm a big fan of Bronze Age horror, and I suppose this one is probably what triggered me into going and collecting more Bronze Age horror. There we go. House of Secrets 92, first appearance of the Swamp Thing, cover art by Bernie Wrightson, story by Len Wein. Great. Okay, there you go. There's my 10 slabs. I might do another 10 slabs in a couple of weeks' time. We'll see how this video goes down. But for your time being, that's your lot. See ya again soon.